Welcome to the Indie Comics Report. I am your host, Mr. Anderson. We have an amazing creator with us. We're going to have Dan on in a moment. But first, we're going to talk about some news, some things I have to address. When it all goes back to Marcel Dupree, and it all makes sense in a minute, and then we're going to get to Dan. So give me 5 minutes to give some news, and we're going to bring Dan on. So here we go. This is the Dupree Report. We renamed it because every week we're going to keep talking about the broken hearts and promises that he gives out. And for this Valentine's Day, he gave some broken promises and hearts to the following people. But we would just like to welcome Marcel, as apparently he's a fan of this show, and we'll show you why in a few minutes. But first, let's start with our first person who got Dupree'd. Hi, I am Antoni Pomaris. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. I apologize. I pledged to the first campaigns for the Gentleman and Mine to Avenge. I chose the tiers that included t-shirts. I received my comics digitally and in print, and that's positive to know someone actually got comics, but never got my shirts. I messaged him, and he gave me the runaround. I tried to understand, but he started ignoring me in Facebook messages, and then I finally asked for a refund, and not a peep. Then I found out he had left Facebook, which, by the way, we know he was kicked off of Facebook. He didn't leave. And here are the screenshots. Now, you guys can read the screenshots on your own because I don't have a great reading narrative voice due to my dyslexia. I just wanted to highlight one thing that he said that I think is amazing, and that is the fact that he says, and this is his own words, I appreciate the support. I apologize. I am slow with things. As a publisher, I don't know if I'd want to ever say that out loud. I don't even know if it's honest. It sounds like he's just okay with being slow with things. I know that I wouldn't be okay with that. I feel bad being late for the show today. We had a diaper emergency that I had to address. So I had to be a couple minutes late. Dan was cool enough to wait for me, and we're back on the show. But that's who he is. And speaking of delays, here come more delays. But here's the shout out I get. So here we go. This is posted on the Mine for the Avenge. We've been given this by a tipster who gave me the screenshot because people are tired of his antics and said, hello, thank you for supporting Mine to Avenge. Unfortunately, the book is delayed. It won't be shipping this month. It will ship in April. If you have any questions, please message the Kickstarter or email. And it says Marcel of thelusineinepub.com. Robert, that's me! Gave you all my personal emails. Please don't email me there. I won't surprise. That's respond. I think he's lying. I absolutely think he will respond. I think you should send him more emails. And even send him emails like he sends us emails about your books. Send him emails about your books. Just don't sign with him. And more creators are left in the dark. So Mine to Avenge is going to be late. But it'd be nice if the creator of the project knew it was going to be late, because the creator didn't even know. People had to tell him that the book is going to be late. And he had to make an actual message about it that you can find on our site right now. I'm not going to read it out loud, but this is Robert Jeffrey explaining, hey, this is what's going on, and it kind of stinks. But in bright news, from the article, we're mentioned in Somewhere Else, and I'm going to take you to that Somewhere Else in just a second. But first, I want to mention the fact that doing this has actually led to people getting their books. So clearly, we're making an impact. We're being told that he is reaching out to people that show up on this show, complaining. So we're actually getting something done by doing this. So we're not going to stop. We're going to continue to bring this. And Marcel, you should read this. This is how Kickstarter feels about people using their emails in an illegal fashion, actually. You can't. And for everyone listening, do not buy email lists. They're now illegal. If you force someone onto your email list without their permission, it is considered a finable offense. The FBI is not going to come arrest you, but you will get a fine if they can prove it. And, I just thought Marcel might know that buying email lists is a bad thing. I just wanted him to know. And be warned about backing the kooky wanderer. A kooky wanderer is not something that you want to back because it's possibly going to be one of those projects that Marcel decides he's just not going to make or drag his feet on. So please be careful about backing that project. All right, the rest of it is what it is. I do want to touch on a situation. I want to get to Dan, so we're going to quickly graze on this. So this is the site. This is a brand new site. It's called Concrud. It is not my site. There is a rumor going around that it is my site. It had posted something today about its situation with Dirk Manning. This was a situation I did not plan to discuss, nor have a conversation about at this point. But now because I'm being thrown under a bus because someone's hiding their identity running this, I have to address it. First, this is not my site. Second, yes, I have heard the accusations thrown at Dirk Manning. They are compelling. They sound very genuine, and they are not good. We have not heard from Dirk Manning. You guys are just going to have to check out Dirk Manning's page. Something about him talking about how men have been better seems to have stirred a lot of controversy. I don't want to talk more about that right now because the story is ongoing and we weren't planning to cover it. But since we got thrown under the bus being accused of running this site and this site ran something about Dirk Manning, I now have to address it. So whoever did run Concrud, please put in your information. I do not want to be accused of doing something like you're doing. This is not my lane. I don't make a tabloid site. I don't care that you're doing it. I'm not mad at you. I don't want my name associated, so don't do that. Please. I'm asking very nicely. Don't care if you quote me. Don't care if you run stories with my names in it, because here it is. My name is actually mentioned, and I really wish he put the S-I-N the right way. It's capital S, little I, big N. But, you know, it is what it is. I even had to make a comment to make sure that things were fixed because there was some misinformation there. So this is not me. All right, I'm done. We're not going to talk anymore about this because it's upsetting to hear my name mentioned, and I'm having to address something I wasn't ready to talk about. So we're going to move on to the highway. This weekend on the Comic-Con Highway, you guys will see our good friend Davy Jones at BrazenCon. You're going to be able to see our friend Kevin Garcia at Geeks of Color Expo. You're going to be able to find me at the Porky's Comic Book and Toy Show. That's it for this week, but you can find out the full forecast, including the extended forecast, tomorrow, Thursday, when we do our extended forecast show. And you can find out the times and dates and where all those shows are. Or you can find it by just going to our site and looking at the Hot Comic-Con Highway forecast. And finally, kickstarting right now, and then we're going to go right into Dan, Sword of Justice, the 8-inch mummy statue, Blind Tiger, Niobe Bright, Broke Down in 4 Dead Bodies, issue 1 through 3, Crime Noir by Travis Gibb, who is so close to getting 160 backers. Let's help him get there. Zombies, We're Human 2, Volume 1. And by the way, Travis should be on the show tomorrow doing the Kickstarter gong. Steam Dogs, Totally Rad Comics presents Boston Metaphysical Society, Ghosts and Demons, Guano Guy, who has a absolutely amazing video we're going to see tomorrow. Demon Bitch, Pink Puma, and Red Rooster, which we're going to be talking a lot about today. Crimson Scorpion, Volume 1. Meet the Unusuals. I'm part of that one. New York versus the World. Genesis Comic Book issue number 1. Aurora issue number 1. And The Angel of Sandhill, a superhero natural thriller. And my Kickstarter starts, and you guys are going to get to watch my video tomorrow. And The Dude, Volume 1 is on Indiegogo. Okay, Dan, I've had you waiting for enough. Let's bring you on in. Dan, tell them who you are.
All right, I'm Dan Sehn, publisher of Argo Comics and our other imprint, Argo Comics Thunder Zone. And this particular Kickstarter we have going on right now is in Argo Comics. It is the Pink Puma and Red Rooster, issue 1. So those are titles that will... or that is a title that will appear in Argo Comics. And the Thunder Zone is a separate universe where it's more of like a collective of other publishers as well. So you might want to think of Argo Comics as like DC, and then Thunder Zone is more like an imprint like Vertigo, but more in the line of Image where it's creator-owned books.
Now, we got to talk about what is it? Sensational? How do you say
it? Well, that's to help people pronounce my name, because it's like, the H throws everyone off. And just like you pronounce sensational.
Oh, okay. Sensational. Gotcha.
So Dan Shen, but people go, Shen or Sheen or Sane or whatever.
I always do Shen. I'm sorry. I'm bad.
Yeah, no, it's a common error. That H throws everyone off.
And I'm dyslexic, so it really throws me off. I don't know what to do with it. Yeah, but talk to us. You're a bodybuilder.
But yeah, that's I did drug-free bodybuilding. Turned pro in the WNBF, which is the the top drug-free bodybuilding organization. And it's kind of like, just like creating comics, it's a very intensive type of hobby. So as of late, I've been concentrating my efforts on publishing. I still do all the same workouts so that if for whatever reason I decide to take the 8 months and diet down for a show, I could do it. But, at this point, everyone who runs a Kickstarter knows it's going to be kind of tough to do on like chicken and broccoli.
Now, let me ask you a question. What do you lift? No, I'm just kidding. More seriously.
Do you even lift? That's what
Do you even lift? Yeah. Talk to us about, before we get into the meat, the main meal today, which of course is the Kickstarter. Let's talk about this library you have. There are few indie creators, and as a matter of fact, I can't think of a single one, who I can say they have 69 comics. How did you manage this? Are you a millionaire? Tell us the truth. Have you won the lottery?
Yeah, no, that's just over time. 15 years of publishing. And you know what? We talked about the bodybuilding, and I guess, Schwarzenegger would say that bodybuilding gave him some type of work ethic. That once you could put yourself through that and make your body respond like that and, be so strict with everything, it does give you a bit of a work ethic and a kind of another gear that you can go to. So I think I kind of applied it to the making of comics where, you have that kind of determination and stuff like that that gets you. Now, actually, if you click on 2, there's more right over there. There's a second page of books saying, well, I think we're still on.
No, this is the first page. We're on page 2.
Yeah, the 2 right there, pointing to the screen like you know what I'm doing. But, yeah, there you go. So then, so it's just actually, like I said, I think just the enjoyment of making comics, which is part of it. I mean, if you're looking to make $1 million or something, I think there are better ways to do it. Like, I have a love of making comics, which is evident by the volume, like you're saying, that I made. I used to customize action figures, so I do art myself. If I was looking to actually just purely make money, I could probably just make custom figures of figures that haven't been made. Guys are making those on eBay and selling them. You could do that. Doing commissions and art is just pure profit. So, again, it's just kind of like a love of making comics.
So now we have a question from the chat room. Kevin asks, what is the title you are most proud of, is the question.
I guess it would have to be Argo 5. I have issue 36 at the printer right now. So that's the majority of what you're seeing on this screen here. Various issues of Argo 5. Sorority of Power, I think we were up to issue 12. And Thunder Zone is, I'm very proud to be working with a number of the creators who have come into that because, it's kind of like Argo Comics I did for a long time and still doing it, still loving it, but you're almost in a little bit of a bubble. You do work with your collaborators, but it's always fun to kind of interact with other publishers, which is why we saw some of these indie publishing collectives pop up. So it's been great interacting and working with the other publishers within Thunder Zone. But to circle back, Argo 5, I mean, a lot of great collaborations, very enjoyable with numbers of artists. Even today, when new pages come in, there's always a thrill to that. And, you know, you can do that. So, I guess it would have to be Argo 5. I guess it would have to be Argo 5. I mean, a lot of great collaborations, very enjoyable with numbers of artists. Even today, when new pages come in, there's always a thrill to that. And, you know, you can do that. I guess in a fanboy type of way, to have a number of top creators who you've loved their work and have allowed you to publish covers or pinups. And, to start naming them, I'm sure I'd forget people, but, the issue 6 has a Rob Liefeld cover. Mike McCone did issue 19, that cover. I have upcoming one with Tom Rainey, who these are like some of the favorite artists of myself. Bill Willingham, way back in the day, he doesn't really do much art anymore. He's more the writer of Fables. Having a pinup by him, Kevin McGuire, I don't, like I said, the list is quite extensive, but these are people who were gracious enough to allow me to, publish a cover or a pinup, and there's a certain, thrill of that.
Now, let me ask you a question, because a lot of people might be new to you. What is Argo 5?
Well, Argo 5 is basically a superhero team, and much in the line of, let's say, Avengers or Justice League or something like that. They are the premier heroes of their universe, but some people will do a book they admire, and I admire those books. I also admire books like Love and Rockets, Will Eisen is the Spirit. So the difference with Argo 5 is that I do try to go into their personal lives a little bit, examine relationships, social interaction. So it's not just going to be a pure, here's the villain, defeat the villain, cliffhanger at the end of the issue with a new villain. I try to mix it up a little bit and give you something, a different flavor that is not in the big two books. So, to sum it all up, Argo 5 is a superhero team. Shadrath, Gladiatra, Blue Dynamo, Kassira, Chain Reaction, those are the members of the team. But anyone reading it knows that, again, we give a different angle because, again, there's some books where you're going to have, okay, this is my, Superman, this is my Batman, and I mean, they already are out there, Superman and Batman, and they have much more press than you're going to get. So you have to take a different direction, and, give them something unique, and that's what I've tried to do with Argo 5.
And that's important. I think that the process that you've been on really shows creators that it can happen. It is possible. And like you said, it's the working out metaphor. And I use that when I go to shows, that all these indie creators show up and they try to go and lift the heaviest bar to prove they're the best creator. And they don't understand, just like working out, you have to start slow and work your way up.
Yeah, no, most definitely. I did some work for other publishers prior to starting Argo Comics, and those were 8-page story here, 4-page story there, and that was kind of like the testing ground and lifting the lighter weight, like you're saying, before moving on to the bigger weights of self-publishing.
All right, now let's go to the current campaign. Let's check out. Do you want to watch the video with us? Sure,
sounds good.
All right, let's check out. This is Pink Puma and the Red Rooster, not the Red Rooster. And now it's just music that plays, so feel free to give some insight into it as we're watching.
Yep, so there is Pink Puma, and there is Red Rooster, and actually based on a couple friends of mine who they had bit strips, which was, people may remember, pretty popular, maybe like 5-6 years ago. Everyone was making these, some type of app where they were making, you make your own cartoon avatar, and you have, I guess, making your own little comic strips. And these two really kind of like were digging into each other a bit, and I found it super entertaining. And bit strips kind of went away, but I said, these two should like live on in some form, and I figured I could, in the same way that Argo 5 does something different, I figured I could do something different using these characters. So they're more or less frenemies, so, good friends, but still just like the giving each other those jabs. Which, again, it's not going to be something that's going to be super educational. You're not going to learn about the French Revolution in this comic, but sometimes you just want to laugh, and I think that's what, it's good stuff like that. I'll go, and always deliver a creative story, but it's going to be something just to entertain you.
Now, is this going to be an ongoing series?
Well, issue 2 is in production, but I have plans for them to appear in the Argo Comics universe. So I don't really want to, telegraph that exactly what, but they will appear in the Argo Comics universe beyond those 2 issues, and it'll be kind of through public demand. I'm going to see. That's why this was a book. A lot of the books I go straight to Indie Planet. They're a regular release. This is why I bring this one to Kickstarter and say, let's see what kind of demand there is. Issue 2 is in production. If issue 1 and 2, did gangbusters and people want to see more of them, that would happen. If not, like I said, they'll continue in the Argo Comics universe.
Let's talk about this team.
Yes, there you have the creators of the book. Leo Gondam is the artist, and he is actually the series artist on Argo 5. So starting issue, 37, he is the regular artist on Argo 5. And he's just a phenomenal talent. He's done work for, I believe, Dynamite and some Image books. So he's a fantastic artist. That's what made me finally settle in with him as the main artist in Argo 5. Priya Pillai has been doing a number of coloring projects with me. Again, just a highly talented individual who has an impressive resume, and as always with any creator, great with the deadlines. So combine all that, and it's been a pleasure to work with him. And Jorge Vieira has lettered a number of books for us. So, I mean, some letters I'm doing in a basis where it's kind of like, as the book goes along, we're getting it lettered. With him, it's more a case of having a full script, which I don't always have, but having the full script for the whole book, getting it to him, and he does a fantastic job of, lettering. I've done it myself for the first 20 issues of Argo 5. Get a balloon placement correctly, fonts of course, the sound effects if you're going to include sound effects, and just everything that Jorge excels at.
So now let's talk about the future. What's the future for Dan Sehn and Argo Comics? Shen. What? See, I can't say your last name.
Yeah, Ben. Just Sen. Think of it that way.
Sen. All right.
Yeah. Well, as I said, Thunder Zone is our newest venture. And with Thunder Zone, we had Nature Man, which was my book first release. We had Supercross, which was a book from Indonesia from Jerry Judge Himes. He's the creator of that book. And then we also had Defenders of Europe from Fabrizio De Fabridis, who is in Italy. We have another Kickstarter coming with Big House Blues, which was a title I was going to release with another publisher who went under at some point. So that'll finally see the light of day. The issue is complete, so people won't have to worry about whether or not they'll get that book. Actually, in Thunder Zone, I'll tell you this. I'm only going to kickstart completed books, okay? And I want people to have that reassurance that, because as you've reported, there's a lot of shady things going on with certain publishers. That's what I'm doing, improving a track record to show that, with Argo Comics or Thunder Zone, they're guaranteed to get the book. So yeah, Big Ass Blues, and we're going to have The Squad, which is from Nigel Flood, who is in Ireland. He had The Squad, which will run a dual Kickstarter, so you'll have 2 books, and in that way, buying books on Kickstarter, which I've done a lot of, you're paying shipping on each book. So for Thunder Zone, I decided to have 2 books at a time, save people on the shipping, give people a little variety. You still have the option to buy either book alone if you want, or you can buy them digitally, which of course saves you on the shipping. But in that respect, you'll be able to get the 2 books, save on the shipping. We'll probably offer some of the past books as well. So that is really the future plan. And as I said, we said Indonesia, we said Italy, we said Ireland. This will be an attempt at a more global presence than I've really tried to venture forth with Argo Comics. So Thunder Zone, we have a very diverse international stable of creators and publishers. We'll try to take it to the next level.
So now we have a comment from our chat room. It's from Kevin again. By the way, hi, Mark Darden. Mark Darden saying hi to us. Did you collect comics growing up? What stories drew you in, Dan?
Yeah, I've collected comics for as long as I can remember. So, and I didn't have that period where some people kind of dropped out or something. So I did collect comics all throughout. What stories drew me in? Well, I mentioned that I really liked Love and Rockets. So that is a series that I really enjoyed. Early on, I can remember my friend who loved comics as well, and as with many, kind of seemed a little isolated into the big 2, and I always was open, I guess, to the indie comics once I was, beyond the point of my parents buying the comics. So I'd be like, wow, you should have seen this guy Dale Keown doing Dragon Force. And it wasn't a big 2 title, and some comic fans would be like, yeah, what are you talking about? There was no internet to chat about these things at that point. So for indie titles like Elementals that really kind of paved the way, DN Agents was another great one. There was the whole Greater Mercury, Silver Wolf, that was a different names of the same company. Universe of Indie Heroes that I really enjoyed. Fathom was a company by Tim Tyler. Not Fathom the comic, Fathom the company. But then, of course, there were a lot of mainstream stuff, and we all loved Watchmen. We all love Dark Knight Returns. I guess the golden age of Justice League for me was like that Kevin Maguire um, uh, run, and Bart Sears doing Justice League Europe. So those are books that I enjoyed and probably influenced. You can see a little influence in including comedy in Argo 5. So yeah, the list goes on and on. At one point, I was crazed for X-Men. Just when that new team came out, Colossus, Wolverine, Storm, Nightcrawler. After a point, I think it became too many characters. But yeah, that Byrne Cockrum run is kind of gold to me. So yeah, I can go on and on and on, which I have already been doing. So.
I mean, it's important. A lot of times people want to know how we got into comics. But of course, speaking of being in comics, I know you have stuff to do, and I appreciate you being on the show. Let's go over this one more time. What are you looking for in this Kickstarter? What do you still want to see happen? What are you offering? Give them a reason to back you, because you already hit the goal. But what stretch goals are we looking at? What else is going on, Dan? Let us know.
Well, our next stretch goal is the trading cards. So you can see we're going to give everyone a digital copy of Sorority of Power number 11, which has Pink Puma's first appearance. So we're happy to be getting that to everybody. So you'll have the complete story, just a cameo appearance in another book. But we figured let's get that out to everybody. And we have these sketch cards with Scott Blair art on the Pink Puma. He's quite popular for people following comic work. And Jardel Cruz, who drew Impact International for us, another Argo Comics title. He did this pinup of the Red Rooster. You can kind of see the Chinese symbols there of we're saying that he was born on the year of the rooster. So, you get the rooster up top in that wheel of symbols. As always with Argo Comics throughout my whole run, I've been looking for just a readership and people to enjoy the books. So again, it hasn't been like a something that I've done purely on a financial level. We all, of course, enjoy financial success. But as Stan Lee once said, if you want to make $1 million in comics, start with 2 million. So it's more of a passion project. I just want people to be able to get the stories, enjoy the stories. And again, that's why I kind of set the bar low on the Kickstarter, because I didn't want to set it to a point where we might not reach it and then people wouldn't get the book. I want people to get the books. I want people to enjoy the stories.
And that's important. I appreciate that. And you're a very dedicated creator, and I thank you for proving that indie creators can do more than 2 issues. Because so often, so many people say that we're incapable of that, and you're a shining example of someone who keeps going and keeps creating great stuff. So thank you for that.
I appreciate that, and thank you for, advocating for us indie guys who are, trying to get their word out there of their creations.
Most days I love doing it. The days where I get accused of running hit sites, that's not so much fun. But for the most part, you take it grain of salt, right?
Hazards of the job. Hazards of the job.
Exactly. All right, Dan. Don't go anywhere because I want to say goodbye, but I have to say goodbye to you all watching. So here's the graphic for our show, ICR. Of course, you can find Dan at all the links within our video. I appreciate you all tuning in today, and support Dan's Kickstarter, because that's how we're going to leave today. Check out these awesome rewards that they got. I love the covers. Look at that cool wraparound cover. That's so cool. So check it out. Have some fun. It's okay to laugh, guys. So go out there, get yourself a comic book, and reward yourself with some laughter. And like Dan said, this comic book's done. There is no real risk. It's just up to the post office now, right, Dan?
That's it. Right to the printer, right to you.
All right. So that's it, guys. I will see you tomorrow for the crowdfunding report. And that's it.